Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Mia Hall reporting for BlackEnterprise.com. I have the pleasure of interviewing David Hunter Jr., co founder of Made for More Entertainment, actor, writer, producer, just all around Renaissance man. David, welcome and thank you for joining me today.
Oh, awesome, Mia. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you being here.
Yes, it's so exciting. So yeah, man, I know that you've had a long journey to get to where you are today. I see you repping Hampton in the back. Shout out to A.
Hey, you built me up with that intro, and I came in all chill. I got to do it over. Yeah, it's good to be here, and we repping for Hampton all day, every day.
Hey,
Yeah,
you already know, man. Yes, my HU brother,
yeah.
my love.
Mhm.
So I want to discuss, especially for people coming in Hollywood. A lot of people are, inspired by this, I hate to say, but new wave. Uh,
Mhm.
but honestly, I also celebrate it, right? Because a movie like Black Panther, might not have been able, not might, was not able, to be done, you know, um, 12 years ago, you know what I
Right.
mean? When you first came to Hollywood, and it could be longer than how long ago was it when you moved to LA?
Officially moved. I'm going into my 13th year.
13.
So
Okay, that's what I
yeah, but
thought.
yeah, 12 solid, 13. We coming up on the 13, yeah, next year.
Okay, copy. Yeah,
Yeah,
so that wasn't, wasn't the reality 12, 13 years ago.
right.
And but now, more people are inspired and they're like, look, I can do this thing. So I want you to talk about when you first decided, when did you first decide to even get into acting and
Yeah.
and producing and knew that you wanted to, pursue this as a career?
Yeah, no, I mean, I've always loved TV and I've been entertained, and I don't know how, but they used to tell me when I was little that I would like be entertaining the adults and saying stuff, and I was just very like I would pick up on things pretty quickly. They couldn't watch the adult, TV shows around me or late night TV because I would pick up on things really fast. And then just in high school, middle school and high school, it was in a lot of like plays at church and doing that. I played the drums growing up, so I was always in the arts. But I think really in high school, I just wanted to go to the movies all the time. I ran track, I played basketball, but like after track practice, if I wasn't doing anything at home, if I wasn't in church, I was at the movies, and that was just really how I got it started with it. And I knew I wanted to be an actor from that point.
Okay, and then when did you decide to move to LA?
Yeah, no, I went to Hampton obviously,
Or
and I
would you
went
know you
there.
were going to move?
Yeah, I went to Hampton, and I knew even my freshman year I wanted to be in LA, but I wanted to study film and TV. And at Hampton at the time, they only had theater, but that really gave me a love for the arts in a way that I had never really known before. So I was doing theater. I was in the theater all the time, plays. It was a small department, so really got our hands dirty, being active. And I had the fortunate opportunity to have some older people, like some big sisters, big brothers, and they were moving to LA before me. So I kind of got the lay of the land from them. One of my good friends, one of my best friends at Hampton, we came into Hampton at the same time. He was from LA, and I remember telling him freshman year, I was like, "Hey, man, I'm moving to LA when I get out of here." And all he said, "For sure." You know what I mean? And my LA people know that's just how they talk. But really, I knew it from the jump. And so my junior year, going into senior year, I took a program and I came to LA for like a 2 week acting program, like '06, '07. And I was out here for 2 weeks, and it was my first time in California. It was an amazing time. And I knew from that standpoint, even some of the advice I got, they were like, "You're raw, you got talent, go back home and do some things. But when you get back to LA, you'll be ready." And that was really what it was. My senior year, I knew I was going to LA.
Mm. All right, awesome,
Yeah.
man. And so, okay, so you've had a long journey. You're still there now. So,
Mhm.
congratulations for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Some people, just go home. But, can you tell us, what you started out doing,
Mhm.
and basically how did it lead to where you are now?
Yeah. No, I mean the journey, I tell people this all the time. The path that I took to get where I am now wasn't a path. If you go back and look before, it was a bunch of woods, it was trees, it was a creek, it was a pothole, I was stepping in stuff. and I just was like knocking things over. And then I turn around and that looks like a path now. But when I got here, it wasn't necessarily that. I had a job from a family friend that I never met, but he was from Philadelphia and all my family's from Philly. So they connected me with him and I left the DC area in the middle of a school year. I was teaching and I left in the middle of the school year, moved to LA and had the job with him. And the job lasted a month. And so then I'm out here with a little bit of money, but no job. And it was just a really tough situation. So I started applying everywhere. And I was like, I wonder if I could work here. I wonder if I could work there. And my first job after that situation was me working at the Kodak Theater, which is now the Dolby Theater. I had saw an email on their website. And I said, I wonder if I could work where the Oscars are. And so I sent an email and they called me and said, we're doing an interview. And I got hired as a tour guide. And so I never knew that was going to be an opportunity, but I was like, yeah, I can be a tour guide. I was the only Black person. So I don't know if at the time that was the reason why, but I was in there. And by being a tour guide at the home of the Oscars, I didn't realize this, but I got a chance to go to the Oscars every year. So within a 5-month span, I ended up going to the Oscars and I went to the Oscars every year. And since the last 2 years until I left that job. So that was like the initial part of the journey right there. But it was a lot of, like I came and my mindset was just, I'm an actor. And so I was only thinking one way. So there were some things that I was doing, some people I was talking to that necessarily right now, I would probably not do that again because I was like only thinking one way. And I think sometimes that's what happens when you come to LA, you're kind of set in doing things your way or set in making it the way that you think or anticipate. And when you get here, you get knocked on your butt kind of because you realize that's not how it rolls. And it's not, I know this now, but it's not what happens to you, it's how you respond to what happens to you.
I love that. And it's absolutely, yeah, because a lot of things will happen to you, but it's really, what separates the great from the ordinary is,
Mm-hmm.
is
Yeah.
that is how you respond. So, yeah, no, thank you for that. All right. So you started doing things other than acting.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, you are helping to run, Made for More Entertainment,
Right.
a production company. Can you tell us how and when did you start that?
Yeah, the idea came from years ago, and people, if they see anything, they heard me say maybe I really, when I was working at the theater, I got sick, and so that was a life-changing experience for me because I just, long story short, I was really big, solid. I worked also at a gym, and I lost almost 50 pounds in a month. I ended up going in and out of the hospital for a year, and doctors didn't know what was wrong with me, and so it was really bad, like. It was just, it could have, my whole body shut down. And so when I got healed, I remember praying, I was like, God, if you heal my body, I'll tell everybody you do it. So that's why I mention it every time, because seeing people pass away, it's like I'm still alive and people don't even know that I've been through that. And I don't take it for granted. One day, so I remember those days. But I remember during that time period, I'm like, why is this going on? Why is this happening? And then when I started to get my body back, he was like, you're just focused on acting, but I have more opportunities for you. And so when I couldn't act, I was doing a lot of writing, and I'd already written poetry. I'd done like spoken word. I was in a, spoken word group and troupe, and we performed in Hollywood. But then I started writing, projects like little shorts, and I was writing on Microsoft Word, didn't have a writing program. It was all jacked up, but I really started creating in that way. And it got me thinking, maybe this is something I can do too. Like, I know how story structure goes. I know this. I just need the right format. And that's when the idea came that said, you're made for more. You're made for more than just being an actor. And when I created my first web series, it was called The Process. And we got to hire people. And it was like, wait, something I wrote, we're hiring people. And then, long skipping around, we got licensed to Black and Sexy TV, and they were just killing the game at that time. And so I'm like, wait, they believe in what I'm doing and something I wrote. And so it's just like, you're made for more. And that just never left me. I'm made for more than just being an actor. I don't want to be 55 years old hoping that I get an audition. I want to be creating opportunities so that I can enjoy life with my family, future wife, all that stuff. And it's like started getting me going. And like, and then too, I would say LA as an actor, you come out here and you're so dependent on other people to help you live. And that's no way to live. And so I was like, man, the joy that people got from making money and doing a project that they felt proud of, it's like people were able to pay their rent because of what we did. And I said, that's the type of resource I want to be. I want to be like, somebody's like, yeah, I'm on this show and they're getting paid and they're getting treated right. That's an amazing feeling. I know what that's like to be as an actor, but it's few and far between, especially for people that look like you and me. So I'm like, we can create those opportunities, pay people, keep people eating, and tell good stories. There might be a longer path to get to where we want to be, but it's worth it.
I love it. I love to see it. And so I know that Made for More has a recent project that is currently running, the Can You Relate series. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I mean, we all been in relationships, and I remember my last relationship, and it was no shade at all. I love her. She was great. But it was funny because I remember all the different little situations that would occur in conversation between us, and those situations are what we call disagreements or arguments. And it was funny, and I was like, I know I'm not the only person, right? I know I'm not the only person that's going through this. So all of these situations, I was like, can you relate? It just came from my personal experience, little stuff. At first, I first called it perspectives, but then it was like, can you relate? And it's like really putting the onus on the audience. Like, no, we want that call and response. I grew up in the church, so you know what I'm saying, that call and response, right?
I love it. I love it. So
Yeah.
you wanted people to be able to, respond like, yeah, what I mean? Like this happened to me. And you want to know that you're not in a silo. Like,
Yeah.
Am I bugging?
Right.
Am I the only one this is happening to?
Right. And so far we've received, we're still working to get the buzz out more, but we received a lot of like, yo, I can't believe, this is funny. I definitely could relate. So man, please tune in, tap that subscribe, like, comment, do it all. We see it. It means a lot to us.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Okay, awesome. And then, with Made for More, and for everybody, 2020 was a, interesting year. But I know that you have been, you were teaching for a long time, for a little bit of time, I don't know how long, but you were teaching, and then the pandemic happened, and what did you do? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know that you took a big leap, it seems.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was teaching, I had that background from teaching back on the East Coast. And so I had an opportunity, to get back into teaching out here. So I was teaching first and second grade at a private school in West LA.
While you were still acting on the side.
While I was still
writing and doing
while I was acting, while I was writing. Yeah. And I would say I could have done some things smarter because, working with kids is hard enough. Working with 6 and 7-year-olds takes it up a notch. And then when you're trying to act and you're going to sleep maybe at 1 a.m. and then getting to school at like 7 and work, you can't work with a 6 and 7-year-old on 5 hours of sleep. Don't do it. All my parents know I'm not a parent, but I learned the hard way. But real talk, I was in that situation. And as much as I love the kids, as much as I love the school, I just knew, I said, this is a bridge, but it's not where I need to be. And I feel like there's a window. And I just felt it, sometimes you just feel, I was like, yo, there's a window. I have to get out. And if I don't get out, it's not that it can't happen, but it won't happen like it could happen. And I didn't know what it was. I just didn't know. And so a friend of mine, her name is Jaya Thomas. She has a company called Diverse Representation. And I've known Jaya. I met Jaya crazy. I met her in 2009, 2010. But I've just always known that she was going to be like special. And so when I'm at the school, I'm teaching, but then there's events for Diverse Rep. And so I was going and helping out. And then I just was like, yo, do you need anybody to volunteer or help out? She said, yeah, that would be great. And one thing I'll say is a lot of people see her and people like that as like an opportunity to put themselves on. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna get Bajaya because of who's gonna be there. And my mindset at the time, I was working at school and I knew this was a transitional period for me to like be at the school and just focus. I said, well, I'm just going to help out. Like, all right, Jaya, what you need? And so my focus wasn't trying to get on. I was like, let me do whatever. So I just kept volunteering at events. And then one event in particular, I ended up getting lunch with her after it. And I just started like pitching myself. I was like, yo, what does this look like? What are you doing? How are you doing this? And literally a month later, COVID hit. And so at that time, at that lunch, I was like, would you ever want to hire somebody, bring somebody on? And she said, yeah, I'll think about it. That could be cool. And literally when the COVID hit, I was like, man, I hope she still wants to hire somebody, because I know this was tough during school, but I don't know if I could do COVID teaching as well. Just me. I appreciate all the teachers. I love them, but it was just my heart. And so I kept texting her. I was like, hey, what's it looking like? School year's over in June. What's it looking like? And literally at the end of the school year, when they asked me if I was going to come back, I told the school no. And I didn't know if Jaya was going to say yeah or not, but she did. And so now I work for diverse representation as the director of operations. And we're still a startup, small company, but, obviously things are picking up. And I think there's been so much other stuff that has happened for me from leaving the school. And I wouldn't have had the opportunity to do all of that had I still been in the school teaching. And I think sometimes that's a thing. You just take that leap. And I'm a man of faith too. Like, I really trust God, and I didn't do it all the time when I first got to LA, but I trust him more than I ever have now. And nothing that's happened is by accident. And I just feel like it's the tip of the iceberg. And so I'm just like, oh, this is what happens when you really trust him. Okay, let me keep going this way. So I'm trusting as much as I can. And I don't know every step, but so far he has not let me down.
I love it. He hasn't failed you yet, has he?
Yeah, not at all. Not at all.
Hasn't failed you, period.
Period. Right? That's my cousin say, period.
Okay, exactly. Okay, no, that's awesome. And congratulations, for having the courage to take that leap, and and seeing the fruit from it, and having that faith, right? Is without much risk, there isn't much reward. So, you have to take those risks sometimes.
Yeah.
And I will say, I don't know when it happened, but I know that your production company. And I know that people might even be watching that are like, okay, I want to do all these things, but I'm a working actor, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have any money, and I know that you were able to, like, secure some funding for your projects. And even when you didn't secure funding for your projects, I'm also curious, as to how you even, funded your first project, if it was personal. So if you can talk about how because I think that that's just a lot of questions for a lot of producers, up and coming producers, have that type of question, like, okay, that's going to be my biggest thing. I'm working, I have some friends, but how do I really put this together? Can you just let them know the process, made that happen with your project?
And I'll answer the back end of that first. With the first projects, everything, it was a lot of like my own money, and I would say my own money that I didn't have. So like, I was working, but I also, I was in a full relationship. I was engaged. So like, that's money too that was going out. So I was like driving Uber and Lyft on the side to like pay for relationship stuff, to pay for the projects. Any money that I got from an acting gig that was outside of my own project, I was putting towards, because I was like, this has to work. And so I would say there was definitely good to do that and take those risks and take those bets on myself. But I also, I put a lot of pressure on myself that I didn't necessarily need to do. And it caused some errors, some mistakes. So like, even before the teaching job, I had to work 3 jobs. I was working at Starbucks, the theater, and the Kirk Douglas Theater. I was going to sleep for 3.5, 4 hours a night because I got in a car accident and I got hit, and my insurance did whatever, it didn't get paid. So I thought it was paid, but it didn't. And the guy that hit me was uninsured. So my car was, totaled. He totaled 2 other cars. I had to pay out of pocket, and my relationship because of that actually ended. So it was like, there was some hurt in that time. But I think too, like, sometimes we get anxious, and I was like, I have to do all this. I have to do all this. I have to do all this. And again, it's going back to like really trusting. I'm like, I didn't have to do everything that I had to do the way I did it. You know what I mean? But there was also like, well, I'm not gonna like be cautious. I'm still gonna take risks. But it's like when I jump, it's like, is it an ocean or is it a pool? You know what I mean? Like making sure I know exactly what that is when I do. And then I think too, that happened 2 years ago. And so like, where I am now, like the thing about that was just 2 years ago. It wasn't like it was 5 years ago. It was 2 years ago when I was working all those jobs. And to be in the position I am now, I would say just keep going. You have to keep going. Like, I'm not saying this to pat myself on the back. Like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm up early all the time, but I go for a run. and it's like I'm up running before the sun, and you get tired, but you just keep going. If you have to slow down, just keep going. The key is not to stop. And so with all of those things, I never stopped. And it's like it hit rock bottom, but I was like, well, I'm not gonna stay here. So I keep going. My car got repossessed because of all that stuff. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna get it back. You know what I mean? Like it was a hard time, but it teaches you a lot. And again, it's like what happens to you, how you respond to it. Whereas that being said, is the people who were close to me saw what was happening, saw my reaction to it, and still saw the work ethic and the talent. And so they never gave up on me. And so, after everything was happening, they saw me teaching. They saw me be humble enough, I guess, to go work at all those jobs, then to do the teaching. And they were like, man, you did this. We know, like, you're willing to do whatever it takes. You just need some help. So we want to invest in you. So bring your projects to us. We're going to take it to our team, and we're going to try to get you back on your feet because you deserve it. And that really, it made me get emotional, because I was just like, man, like sometimes you don't think anybody's noticing or anybody's watching, but I didn't need 50 people watching. I just needed one. And that one person watching was able to change the trajectory of some things. And so now it like doesn't look like, I'm not trying to be angry, but it's like, oh man, Dave, you're doing it. And we're just like, we really haven't talked about everything that we're doing. There's a lot more that we're doing, but I feel so fortunate. Sometimes I have to sit back and it's surreal, because I'm like, man, like that's the type of thing I want to be able to do for somebody. See somebody that's struggling, somebody that's hurt, and be like, hey man, I see you. I know if you just had the opportunity. And I would say this too, like sometimes we want these opportunities, but be careful what you're praying for. Cause like I was hustling. I'm like, man, if I just had this, if I just had this. And then I got somebody that said, what do you need? And then I'm like, it's like, do you even know what you need? I need some money. Well, how much money do you need? Well, I want to make this film. Well, what's the budget? What do you think the film is? I mean, don't be afraid to ask. Like, just say what it is. And if they can't do it, they can't. But like, that's what I think. Like when I hit rock bottom, losing an engagement, health, repossessed car, all these things, there's really no fear in me to ask for what I want now, because I done lost stuff already. So it's like, okay, well, I need $25,000. Okay, well, we can do 15. Cool, let's get it. You know what I mean? But before I would be like, well, maybe I can get like 12 or 30. It's like, you know what I mean? I think it just took some of the timidity out of me. And that's really what happened. So like, I know that was a roundabout way of saying how we got this money. But like, when I think about it, that all of that had to be said to really get you to understand, or people to understand how I got the money. It was like people seeing the investment of what I did outside of the work and projects to be like, hey, all right, we know you're not going to play with this because of what happened.
No, I love that. Smooth seas never made great sailors. You know what I mean? And it definitely, what you went through has prepared you for, what you're doing now. So it's like sad, of course, but yeah, it made you, it gave you strength. So,
yeah,
and thank God. Absolutely, absolutely. Wow. Okay. I love your story of overcoming, and thank you for sharing, with people. Like, look, you have to have the right people around you. Make sure that you treat people right as well. And also share with people, what you're going through too, and ask if they ask, you know what I mean? So just make sure that you are true to yourself, and and you're the average of the 5 people that you hang out with the most too. Make sure you're keeping the right people around you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Also, under Made for More, I know you're talking about we do a lot of other projects. One of the projects that I love that you all do, that I think you guys just wrapped season 2, but is Post in Black. And at Black Enterprise, we talk about careers a lot, and Post in Black is a web series that highlights Black people, right, in post-production, where, currently, we know that there's a dearth of Black people in that industry. Can you just talk about that show, how it came about, and, what we can look forward to in season 2?
Yeah. No, great. No, my brother, who I'm very close to, and you met as well. My brother Daniel was in post-production here in LA years ago. He moved to LA before me. So he was out here 2007, 2008. and he was working in post houses all over LA, working on a lot of different shows, sound editing, sound, everything. Just he had a great opportunity, but when he was that age, he was 21, 22. He was usually the only Black person in these rooms. So he's working on shows like Curb Your Enthusiasm, a lot of reality. And so he was telling me, he's like, man, it was fun. I got to be on Warner Brothers live. I was on here. I was on Sony, but there's nobody that really looks like me. And he's like, it's crazy. He said, everybody's like older than me and I'm the youngest person. And so I would go to some of these places with him too, and getting to go on a lot was really cool. But it's like, he was the only Black person and they loved him. But what Daniel, his mind, he started doing, he started emailing people that he saw. He was like, let me look up other Black post people. He would email them and be like, why are we the only ones? And so he literally started it. He said he started it as a blog. He started interviewing these people. And that was around 2011. And he ended up leaving LA. He moved to New York, and now he's in Philadelphia. But he stopped it because he moved. And at the time, I was helping him, but I really was like, man, I didn't really understand the concept. But when I started Made for More again, I was like, Posting Black, we need to get that going again. So we relaunched it 2 years ago, and it's a podcast / blog. And we really want to highlight Black people. And, the term sometimes we use is people of color, but we're going to say Black. We're going to highlight Black people who are working in post-production, because everybody, I've been fortunate to get cast as in roles, but everybody's not going to be an actor. Everybody's not a director. Everybody doesn't have to be in front of the camera to get an opportunity to work in Hollywood. And some people don't even know that you could be working on your favorite show and work and have a career, be doing things behind the scenes. And so we want to highlight these people who usually don't, some of your favorite shows are being edited by people who look just like you. And that's a skill. And so it's been really great. We just wrapped our season 2, but we have the director of the Olympics. He edits all the Olympics. He's done those for over 25 years. I mean, amazing. Terrellyn Shropshire, who edits almost everything, Love and Basketball, Jump in the Broom, Wrinkle in Time, Ava DuVernay's the 13th. She just did the When They See Us. Like these are the heavy hitters. And Terrellyn was actually my brother's mentor growing when he first got to LA. So like our next season, it's jam packed with like this is the equivalent of saying we got Denzel, we got Angela Bassett. You know what I mean? This is the equivalent of the season that we have coming up. So we're excited. We have potential partnership that we're working on finalizing. So when everything's clear, I'll let you know. We were supposed to launch in April, but that's because some of these things are happening. We pushed the launch back because we want it to be as good as it can be.
I love it. Awesome, and congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we're excited.
Yes. Okay, awesome. Well, in order for I love, to give advice, of course, to people that want to produce their own web series, want to produce their own shorts, want to be a successful actor that's booked up like you. Do you have, what's a piece of advice, probably like the best piece of advice that you've received that you've been able to use and learn from about, being successful or really achieving your dreams, because success can be different for everybody, right? But achieving your goals in Hollywood.
Yeah, I think you hit on it, and it's kind of just hit me this week. Run your race. And it sounds so simple, but, and especially in entertainment and Los Angeles, wherever you are, but especially LA, you get so distracted by what other people are doing, and social media is there. And so you're constantly bombarded with everybody else's life and everything that they're doing. And it's really cool to see so many people doing things and creative, but it allows you sometimes to get in your head. And I would literally say, take it day by day and run your race. And when it's your time, it's your time. Like you can only control what you can control. So like, if you don't have an agent right now, that's cool. Like if you don't have, I don't have an agent for TV and film and voiceover. And I've been in LA 13 years, and somebody could say he's been in LA and he's a good actor, but he don't got an agent. But there's also some things that I'm able to get straight right now, so that when I do get the agent, I'm really ready. And I would say that's the biggest thing. Like, make sure you're ready for what it is that you want. and really do the research on what it is that you want. And that's why I say run your race, because you could be working so hard to get somewhere, to get something, and get there and realize that's not what you wanted. And that's an empty life. So, like, LA is for me. I love LA. I'm not going anywhere, but it's not for everybody. It's for some people to come work and some people to leave. So make sure you even want to live here. Make sure you even want to work in the industry that you're in, and run your race and do the research. And then when they call you, when your name is called, you're ready. It's better to be late to the party than early and not ready. There's really no second chances out here. I got a second chance at life with health and some other things financially, but I didn't necessarily get in front of the big room and fail. And they were like, because you don't become that guy that like, oh, he failed that time, let's give him another chance. You're going to become the person like, oh man, remember we called him in last time? But now with the maturity that I have, with the wisdom, with the grace that God's given me, every room that I'm walking into now, I'm ready. And even if I'm not getting that part, it's not messing me up. They still know that I'm capable. And that's better than me getting those opportunities years ago when I had no clue what I was even getting involved
in. I love it. I love it. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, no. So you guys heard it here first, you guys and ladies, your race. And I also love, and I feel like a takeaway for me is, when Issa Rae talks about networking across, not always, networking up and things like that. I feel like, you've done a lot of that as well. And, can you just talk about that real quick? Like, how your partners, because I know you're working now, with a lot of partners. How has that helped you networking across in your success?
Yeah, no, it used to cause me some issues. I'll be funny in relationships, because like they would be like, there are girls I date or whatever, but like, you don't got boundaries. And it wasn't necessarily like, once they got to know me, they understood. But like, I just see potential in everybody. And so I would say this, like, sometimes you do get burned, because I look at people the way, you know what I mean? I think people look at me the way I look at them. So I'm always seeing the best in people. I'm always like, well, I would never do that. And then when it happens to you, you almost get hurt sometimes. But I would say it's like everybody's trying to get the Courtney B. Vances and the Denzels and Tom Hanks and all that stuff. But like, the people who are on your level right now are that next wave. And then there's people who are coming behind you. So like, I've gotten to a place now where like, I know the people up front of me, but I'm like, who's the next wave? Because the people that are there may not always be there, but the next ones are going to be something different, because in Hollywood, what they want is something that's familiar but different. You know what I mean? In the scripts, when you're pitching, when you're trying to sell something, this film compares to this, but this is why you need to make it, because I don't want you to make this again. This is what the key. And so it's like knowing that. And so I just love people. I want everybody to win. I think we can win. And so it's like me connecting to you. I just want to find out what it is. And I think that really helps, because the relationships, have helped me out. Last year I booked 4 voiceover commercials, and I have no voiceover agent. And it's because somebody knows that I do voiceover. So they sent me to the creative director. I still had to submit my stuff, but it bypassed a lot of things. And then they submitted me, and the ad agency was like, yeah, we like him. But it was a relationship. It wasn't an agent. And so it's like, those things can still happen. And like, just treat people right. I hear it all the time. Treat people right, man. It's really unfortunate. I pray for people. I don't hold grudges, but I don't forget. And if that's me, how much more do you think these people in the industry who are, their money is on the line, the business is on the line, the studios, don't play. It could really cost you if you treat people wrong and do people wrong.
Absolutely. I love it. Well, thank you so much, David Hunter Jr., for your
Hey,
time. Y'all make sure, let people know where they can follow you and Made for More Entertainment, because y'all
yeah.
make sure y'all check it
Oh
out.
man. Yeah, you can follow me. It's my name at David Hunter Jr. on all the social media, and at Made for More ENT, Made for More Entertainment. Like us on everything, Instagram, Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We really appreciate it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you for your time, and we'll see y'all next time. Bye.
Thank you, Mia.